Hi guys, and welcome to the video. And in this video I wanted to explore the idea of a dragons only deck in Gwent. And the short answer is that a dragons only deck is not very good. But the long answer is that you can just have a lot of fun with this deck. And there's really not that many dragons in the game, and so I've just made a deck where I've included all the dragons. There's one card which has dragon synergy, and then the rest I'll go through later. But you want to play as Squirtle, as they have the most dragons. Another option would be to play as monsters to get Keltalus, which is another dragon card. But by playing Squirtle you get access to 2 extra dragons than you otherwise would playing other factions. So the first card is Dragon's Dream, which isn't really a dragon card, but it's called Dragon's Dream, so why not, right? And also the description is all about Zerrikania and dragon worship. And it's got really cool animated card art for Dragon's Dream. So yeah, we've got Dragon's Dream. Then we got Villain... Yep, not even going to try and pronounce it. Orc 3 Jackdaws is easier to say. This is a really interesting card. After 2 turns, destroy the highest unit on the battlefield, excluding self. So you can get rid of some really important cards by playing this guy right. But you know, you can get killed, can get locked. It's quite easy to nullify his ability in a lot of ways. The thing about these dragon cards is that they have cool abilities, but they're all just get countered too easily. So this is a really cool card. You do sometimes see this in play, but not quite rarely really. Just doesn't really synergize with much. And then we've got Saskia. So Saskia is a dragon card in a human form. And this, I remember this card used to have just a really awful ability. It would deal 2 damage and then have a count. So you couldn't use the ability again for like 4 turns, but if you had an elf, dwarf and dryad, then it would reduce the count by 1, but only 1 time. It was just, I think you had to have the cards in hand. It was just a really weird criteria you had to meet to sort of really be dealing that 2 damage consistently. So they changed it, which is really cool, because you kind of just choose what you need. For this deck I mostly play a young dryad because of the symbiosis. We've got a few nature cards to sort of round off this deck. So yeah, Saskia is just, you're kind of getting 10 points for an 11 provision card, but with the symbiosis, in this deck anyway, you're getting a little bit of extra value out of it. Otherwise, you know, this Saskia card, if you've got a dwarf only deck or an elf only deck, or a deck built around dryads and symbiosis, but like, again, it's just a dragon card that doesn't fit in really. But I think this is great. I think it's a really cool card and a great unique ability. And it's a dragon, so it's in this deck. Then we've got Synthesis Blaze. Damage an enemy unit by 1, charge 5. Again, this is just really easy to remove, lock, things like that. If you've got if they've got a defender, then you know, it's a cool Again, just another really cool ability, but just too easily dealt with, you know. If it was Zeal, then this would be a different story. But it's just gets taken out too easily. But the 5 damage, which you can control where it goes and when you use it, is quite powerful under the right circumstances. And you know, these dragon cards don't really have synergy, but this is an interesting card to play with Northern Realms, as they've got a lot of charges, and this is a charge card, so you can add more charges to this dragon card, which is quite interesting. But we're playing Scoia'tael, so. Then we have Novigad Justice to play with Mahak and Volunteers, that's to get us Finning. Then we've got Octavist, damage all enemy units by 1. Again, really expensive. The base value is only 5. So again, this card just gets locked or it just gets removed, and you gotta hit at least 5 cards to get the value. So it depends what it's just a card that depends on what your opponent is playing, really. If you got armor and shields or not many units, then this ain't gonna do a lot of damage. But it's a dragon card, so. Then we've got All God. This is to put on the Mahakam Volunteers and also the Broccolon Sentinels. And then we've got our last 2 dragon cards, Saint of the Seas, or however you say it. This card is good, I think. 8 for 9, but it's an immunity. And then it's got this unique ability where you can get rid of the immunity, then you can put some boosts in it and kind of protect it with the boosts. I had a really interesting situation, which I'm going to clip at the end of this gameplay, involving this card. And yeah, again, with this deck just being dragons only, I haven't really built anything around this card. You kind of need to synergize some other cards with this card, really. But it can be interesting to place down this card and then sort of play your nature cards, your Nature's Rebuke and stuff like that. Kind of put your opponent in a weird situation. Then we've got the Bruck. Probably, out of all the dragon cards, this one is probably the most consistent, actually. Or maybe Saskia is a little bit better. But it's a 4 for 8, but you damage 2 enemy units by 2. And you get to choose where that damage goes, so you can quite easily get the value out of this card. Out of the other dragons, it's not super interesting, I guess, but you can combine this with your leader ability or playing Precision Strike. So yeah, out of all the dragon cards, I feel like this one's the best one in many ways. Not too costly and very consistent. And then to round out the deck, I've got a whole bunch of 4 value cards, because all these dragons cards are just really expensive. And then yeah, we've got some nature cards, Dryad's Caress and Nature's Rebuke, to sort of play with that symbiosis that we could get from Saskia, and also 1 Duncanel Guardian. And yeah, with Broccolon Sentinels and the Mahakam Volunteers to thin out your deck so that it can actually draw your dragon cards. And then the only dragon synergy card really in the game is this guy right here. Destroy a unit with 9 or more power, so it's kind of like Geralt or Olivia. But if you have a dragon in hand, which you're very likely going to have, you gain Zeal. Now, problem with playing this guy is that you also have this card here. So you've got 2 cards that are going to destroy a high unit. This one's far more flexible. This one has got to be 9 or more, which doesn't always happen. In which case, you're losing a lot of value. but otherwise it's a cheaper Geralt of Rivia, and kind of a bit more flexible because you don't necessarily have to use the order ability. You could save it, right? But then your opponent just plays around it. But I don't know. It's just the only card in the game which actually has anything to do with dragon synergies, really. So yeah, that is the deck. And as I said, spoiler alert, it's just not very good. But you can have a lot of fun just placing down these one-off dragon cards against your opponent. And I've got a match here where I get absolutely destroyed in the final round. But then I've got a match where I do, you know, kind of surprisingly well, really. And I've had more games with this deck, and you know, if you're looking for just a bit of casual play, you want to try out the dragon cards in the game, then you know, it can be interesting to mess around, not take things too seriously with a deck like this. You got all these 4-cost cards. So yeah, hope you enjoy the gameplay, and thanks for listening.
Not your lucky day. Driving hail earthquakes I have spoken. If the king demands a head, I'll give him yours. Oh, you've done it now. We're the best regiment in the whole plowing north.
Dark clouds gather over Temeria.
The sky'll burn with the eternal fire!
I have a bad feeling about this.
Karakile.
Sometimes the price is too damn.
Prepare to fight, if you've any honor.
Are you certain? I do it differently.
Blood and neck and Similian bar.
What succession? The throne will be mine!
Again and again and again.
Tradition be done. I will take Real to go as my wife.
Nah, fine girl with you.
A fair fight? Yeah, no such thing.
Let's get this over with.
Dövede karakine.
Burn the homes, fell the trees, anything shiny, plunder!
Let me go back inside now.
Shoot down, stab him dead. Easier that way. This'll be quick and painful.
Leave it to us!
You're lucky to keep your heat.
We'll
Put Mahakam boots to Imperial arses!
To arms, men!
Let's hurry. Why don't train on the cone? I hate it.
More pain now, less pain later.
I fear not, for faith guides me.
You ought to see the other beast.
Why don't train on the cone? I hate it.
What the? Who the hell are you calling hot-headed?
Slaughter them to a man!
confounded boots. The blister.
Stress release is necessary for what's happening.